If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Wrestling Art with Chris Things.
Ray! Do the hammerlock! I do the hammerlock! Ray! Do the hammerlock, you turkey necks! Yeah, do the hammerlock! I do the hammerlock!
Everybody's doing it. Hello there, pals. Welcome to the show. There's a fly flying around for the intro, which is very appropriate because I'm about to see a screening of The Fly for Halloween. But aside from that, this is Wrestling Art with Chris Things. I am Chris Things Brian. This is my little old podcast where I talk all things wrestling art. I have some of my pals on the show. We talk about the wrestling art. We talk about the match of the week series that I do. That's what this episode is. So we're getting back into the match of the week illustration series. We've got a little bit behind there, but we're catching up with 3 of them today with my dear friend, my longtime pal and friend of the show, Bradley, coming on to have a chat there. So that's our illustration series that I do. It's also, for those who might not be aware, just a thing where I pick my favourite match that I happened to watch that week. And then, we chop it up. We talk about the match. We do a little bit of a deep dive into it and talk about our thoughts of it. You can keep up on all of my matches of the week at christhings.com.au. That is my website. I post all of those illustrations on there. I do little match write-ups and also make fancy art prints of said match illustrations available for your purchase. So you can have one of these framed on your wall if you would like. But I enjoy doing it. I've been doing this match of the week thing every week for... Let's have a look. See where we're at here with the matches of the week. I'm up to match of the week 109 this Friday. So... That's a decent chunk of time right there. Today we'll be discussing matches of the week 100 through 102 with Brad today, but very excited about that. We'll be having Brad join us in a little bit, but in the meantime, in the in-between time, we have a little opening monologue. What's happening in the world of Chris Things? I am a traveling wrestling art carny who goes anywhere I can to hawk my wares to try to squeeze out a living from being a wrestling artist. I say that, but I feel very, very lucky to be able to do so and to be able to do these events and for it to go well more often than not. So I'm very chuffed about that. I've got my next in-person event coming up this Saturday, in fact, where I'm travelling down to Sydney for the latest Lucha Fantastica show in Sydney. I'm very enthused about that. I love Lucha Fantastica. That's like a Australian-based Lucha Libre promotion that we have here, kind of like a Lucha Libre variety show that celebrates Mexican culture. Has a lot of comedy. It's an amazing time. I'm very grateful to get to have my little art table at these events. But yeah, this one is very special because it occurs on the first day of Dia de los Muertos. So the actual show is themed towards the Day of the Dead. They have all the wonderful Mexican cultural pageantry. They have an introduction ceremony. Senor Fantastico will bless you as the Dia de los Muertos shaman that he is. Yeah, it's an awesome time. If you haven't been, you just have to experience it yourself, I would say. So I'm very excited for that. I'm in the stages of packing my bags and trying to make sure that I have an adequate amount of bags or stuff in said bags that are not overweight, and I'm able to fly with them okay. Balancing that stuff and putting them on a scale and adjusting this thing into that bag and all that stuff is... there's a lot more doing with it than people might think. It's an annoying part of preparing for such a trip, but an important one nonetheless. I gotta bring the stuff to sell and try to fit it within the weight requirements that airlines lay out for us. Also having to try to do that in as cost-effective manner as possible is another fun little challenge when you're really doing this on a shoestring budget like myself. So that's a fun little part of my day that I'll be doing after I finish up this recording. Then I catch an hour-and-a-half train down to Brisbane, and then I'll be flying out of Brisbane early on Saturday morning for a very big Saturday. And we have the family show during the afternoon, and then the adults-only show of the evening. But I'm very much looking forward to it. It's my final Lucha Fantastica show of the year. And then after that, I get into the wildness of the Oddities and Curiosities Expo tour as we get into later November and December. And man, that's always a big time. Two big full days, Saturday, Sundays. It's crazy. I always have a great time with it, but man, it's sort of like I end up peaking my year there, I guess. Afterwards, you kind of need a little bit of a breather. But yeah, last year when I did this, we were actually moving house. That's when we originally moved up here to the hills of the Sunshine Coast. And yeah, somehow made the great decision to do that like immediately after this insane period of travel that I had. Which was not a fun time. But this year, hopefully, it will be a bit more balanced, perhaps. We also have, a wrestling club event that I've just announced for the 10th of November. So if you're in the Brisbane area, please come on down to the Scratch. We're doing it on a Monday night this time around. So I'm looking to do a bit of a celebration of Monday night wrestling. In a way, a lot of great wrestling has occurred on Monday nights throughout history. So maybe we'll see what we can do there. But no, I'm very looking forward to it. Sort of like it's a busy period of the year, so it makes these events a little bit more difficult to try to plan out, to try to balance. But I do the best that I can. I also had another thing that I was going to be having coming up. It was a big event that I was looking forward to, that I was putting together, that sadly got sort of cancelled before it could even be announced. I won't say too much about that because I'm hoping we can still make it happen at a different venue, a Brisbane-based venue perhaps. So I'll be a little bit mysterious about that, but it's something that I'm very excited about, something that I was going to be making a poster for maybe even doing some T-shirts for. So we'll see. Hopefully we can line it up. We're in talks with some other venues, and it's something that I would really, really love to be able to do. So without being too much more mysterious, maybe keep an eye out for that. We'll see how we go. Other than that, yeah, just starting to kind of like plan out or think about 2026. It seems like so far away, but I know it's going to be here like in a heartbeat. So yeah, it's the planning part of being an artist sucks. Like honestly, the admin, the sort of like fact that I have to like plan out a calendar. All the real life kind of stuff, like it's a lot less fun than sort of like the wacky, creative, spur of the moment life that I think a lot of people think that I'm living most of the time. So it makes me really appreciate when I do just get to sit down and make art. Whether it's commission stuff, or whether it's me actually doing a painting, which is a very special and rare thing these days. Like, even just doing one for myself that's not necessarily for an exhibition or for whatever, just doing something for the fun of it, that seems quite rare. But I guess that's why, coming back full circle to this match of the week thing that we're going to be talking about today, this fly is really... you get the full experience here. It's an immersive audio experience here at Wrestling Art with Chris Things. But yeah, that's one of the reasons I really dig the match of the week thing, because it gives me an excuse every single week to sit down, and even if it's not like a full-on painting, it's more of a drawing illustration kind of thing. It's something that I really enjoy getting to do, and I make sure to remind myself to enjoy doing that. So, on that note, I think it's time for us to jump into the match of the week with Bradley. Let's finish up our little intro monologue here and send it over to a fun conversation with Brad and myself. Ladies and gents, we are back for another edition of our match of the week version of this show. We're looking to get a little bit caught up today. Got 3 matches that we're here to talk about with returning pal of the show, Bradley. Welcome back, Bradley.
Thank you so much, Chris. Good afternoon.
We're recording this in the afternoon. I feel like I'm probably in need of a coffee. I should have got a coffee before I did this show, but hopefully the greatness of these matches brings me up with a level of enthusiasm.
We will be energized, I'm sure.
Yeah, I think so. So these matches, I think it's quite appropriate that we get to discuss these together, because one of them we got to watch together at one of our most recent wrestling club events, and you actually hit me up to say you really wanted to talk about it.
Yeah, when there's a Kenta match as an option, I was like, can it be me, please? I love to talk about Kenta.
Yes. I mean, I get very excited about the Kenta matches, and I feel like we all should, really. So our 3 matches in question, we are talking match of the week. What do we got here? Ooh, match of the week 100 through 102. So you got the big match of the week 100, Bradley.
I got the century. Nice.
Yeah. So that's the official ones here. Match of the week 100 is the CM Punk versus Walter match from SummerSlam. We then also have the great recent Bandido versus Hechicero match from the Ring of Honor pay-per-view. What was that?
Death Before Dishonor. Yep.
Yeah, that was the one. And then the big Kenta match in question. We're talking. So this was our father and son themed Father's Day wrestling club. So we have father and son, Kenta and Kenta Kobashi against other father and son, Kensuke Sasaki and Katsuhiko Nakajima. And this was the official main event of that edition of our wrestling club. One of my all-time favorite Noah matches. So that's our three.
I'm very excited. There's all those matches, like especially on rewatches. I'm like, these are very, very fun. These are good stuff.
So of the three, before we get into them individually, any linking things or contrasting things that stuck out to you in jamming all these together?
Well, the last two, the Hechicero and Bandido, and then our dads and sons match. Like I rewatched them both today, and so those I saw. Like the big link I saw was just the contrast in styles you get in the matches, because like the Hechicero Bandido one, like you got Hechicero being as technical as he can and with that bit of power, and Bandido being like the high flyer. So you got a really cool contrast in the match. But then sort of straight after that, I watched the tag match, and it also had this really cool contrast of like the big meaty dads like belting each other against like the explosive young punks belting each like just laying into each other. And so like contrast in doing it in completely different ways, but like just gives that match, both matches, sort of like a variety across the match that makes them really entertaining to watch.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that. And also, I guess, with the Hechicero Bandido match, you had the contrast between sort of the badass wrestling and then the amazing, ridiculous Don Callis shenanigans.
I love Don Callis. I love Don Callis on commentary. I don't know. He's a talented guy. He's amusing, and he gets the people to hate him. But I don't know. I think he's really good.
I've been a fan of Don Callis since his days as Cyrus the Virus from ECW. I was a little late to the party to see his days as the Jackal with the oddities and what was it, Men on a Mission something in WWF in that like early Attitude Era period. But I enjoyed him as Cyrus.
I've honestly never, or if I've seen him like him actually wrestle or earlier stuff, I'm like, I am not familiar with it. And so, but I'm like, mostly choose not to, because I'm like, he's probably just like, okay at best. But that way, when I hear him on commentary saying he's like, he helps teach Hechicero some of the lucha stuff, I'm like, yeah, okay, sure. Don Callis did that. He helped instruct him and train him because he's that just talented and skilled back in the day.
Yes. I mean, I never really watched much of him actually wrestling either. Like, in both of those runs, he's more doing the managerial thing.
Yeah.
I remember when he came into WWF as the Jackal, the talk was like, he was originally going to come in as like a wrestler with Rick Martel, and they were going to be like a tag team of the Supermodels. And then Rick Martel like bowed out and ended up going to WCW, and then he went on to WWF, but as a manager. And then he just didn't want anyone to know that he could wrestle because it was better for him to save his bump card and just cash that money for talking.
Yeah, I think he made a wise choice then.
Yeah, I would recommend. And then back to of these three matches, the other, I guess, similarity when I look at them now and recall them. It has been a little bit of a while for since I have personally watched these three matches. Maybe since I actually did some of them as the match of the week, but you're bringing back all the memories here, Brad. The Walter Punk match and our big beef and daddies. We have the Chop City in both of those matches. Both matches have some real satisfying, big old beefy, painful chops.
They absolutely do. Like obviously, you're going to keep calling him Walter, and I'm going to keep slipping between Gunther and Walter. But
both are acceptable. But I only say that, like, I don't say it as like some sort of like highfalutin like oh, he was better in his Walter days, even though he was. It's mainly just like from my, most of my watching this dude was in PWG, it was in WXW, it was in Evolve. Like, I probably have watched the tiniest amount of his matches as Gunther comparatively, so I just know him a lot better as Walter, and it feels weird to me not to call him Walter. But you're welcome to call him whatever you would like. No judgment.
All right, wonderful. I'm glad. But yes, you're right. The big chops there, and also like when we get into the match proper, which we probably should start soon. But when we get into the match proper, like there was a spot in the match where Walter just throws Punk like a baby up against the ring post, and I'm like, that feels like something like Kensuke would do. So
yeah. Oh man. All right. So I think we're there. I think we're at the point where we are now talking about the match. So this one, match of the week 100, another very rare WWE match for us to talk about on, as a match of the week. And it was a bit of a weird one for me to be picking a WWE match for the big 100, but as soon as I watched it, I adored everything about it. And it was actually very similar to the other WWE match that I've chosen for like a previous match of the week, the Punk versus Drew McIntyre one, in that both really don't feel like WWE matches in a lot of ways. They're like really sort of like opposite of the sort of like more, dramatic, showy kind of like WWE style. There's more of an emphasis on sort of the theatrics and that sort of like, I guess, WWE style storytelling, for lack of a better word. So this took place on night one of SummerSlam. I didn't watch any of the rest of SummerSlam.
Of course you didn't.
But this match just made me so happy. And so that was on August 2nd of this year, the main event of night one of SummerSlam. But you watched it in full, I take it? You watched the whole 2 nights?
Yeah, I would have watched it all. I honestly don't remember what happened, but that's not necessarily a slight against SummerSlam. That's just my memory. But yeah, I would have watched the whole thing.
Well, I'm happy we get to have you on to talk about this one. I feel like of everyone that I know, you're probably the one that keeps up the most of the WWE pay-per-views. So you can probably offer like a bit more context to this than I would be able to have access to.
Maybe. Again, we're relying on a memory that is weak at best. What was the context? Gunther was the champ for a while. And Punk's just always going for that belt. Punk always is, perennially at the top of the card. He's going for the belt again in a week, so that's what he does. And
I did watch a couple like promos before this where it was just like real kind of like, Walter just saying he's the best, and then Punk coming out and telling him that he's the best and he wants a shot at the belt, and then Walter just kind of like talking him down, and it was like just the most sort of basic build to a match, but I really kind of liked it in that way.
Yeah, it's pretty straightforward. I think I must have watched some of the highlight package again when I rewatched it, but Punk, like in one of his promos, refers to him as Kid, just like to, diminish him. And then, which leads into them when they're in the match, at one point, Walter's just like beating the snot out of Punk. And he's like, who's the kid now? Who's the kid now? You're like, yeah, get him, Walter.
Oh man, it was so good. Like I guess it's not quite true to say that there wasn't storytelling happening in this match, because there definitely was, but it was just like not what I would necessarily call like a WWE style of storytelling, and it was like far more physical than I actually expected it to be. Like much more of like Big Van Walter kind of like style than his general approach that I've seen out of the little bit of Gunther that I've seen so far.
So, what do you think the story of the match was? What do you think they were trying to do? Like, because I agree, like they were mostly doing in the ring. It was less the build to it. So, like with just the in ring stuff, what do you reckon it was?
I got the vibe that, like, I really liked sort of, it felt like they played into the idea that CM Punk is the older dude. He is he's not like in his prime like Walter is. And he has like his weaknesses, he's not like the top of his game necessarily, but he's in that sort of like veteran, just like holding on kind of like stage of his career, but he's got the heart, and he was using his sort of like wily veteran skills to kind of make up for the fact that this big old beast, Walter Gunther, is actually in his prime. And a lot of this match is Walter just like bullying him and showing him, man, I'm better than you, and doing so in a really physical manner. But I really loved like the amount of sort of like teasers of comebacks and fire ups, and then Walter like just chopping him back down a peg, and like I really love the sort of like tempo of this. Like, it had sort of a bit of a slower kind of like tempo that you could sink your teeth into a little bit more than some other kind of stuff. And I think I actually read some people that didn't quite like that. But I thought it was great, and it really like built to sort of like the perfect head. And then I think the story was sort of like Punk using those sort of like wily veteran skills and tricks to eventually get the better of this big old beast.
Yeah, I think that I pretty much agree with you. Maybe not so much Punk having heart. I can't buy him having heart, but like him being like the veteran is like, he just knows how to counter this stuff. He might not be the best at it anymore, but he's been doing it for 20 years. He's seen this stuff, so he knows what he needs to do to sort of to prevent Gunther getting sort of everything in, or to cut off Gunther occasionally. But then you get Gunther, what I really love in the match is like when he does, like when Punk's starting to get a bit of a run on him, he doesn't shut that down with heel maneuvers or anything like that. He just shuts it down by being more powerful.
Yes.
It's always just like, no, in the end, it's like, I am like the guy, and I will stop you. It's not a I need to do tricks and shenanigans to get back ahead. It's just like, no, I'll use my God-given abilities, damn it.
Yeah, like it wasn't like Punk was this sort of like, he's the baby face or he's the Superman, so every time that Walter needs to get on top of him, he has to cheat or whatever. Like, it had a different dynamic, which I thought was really good. And Punk had to just try to use every little trick in the book that he had, but for the most part, that wasn't enough. And then eventually, he just caught him at the right moment. And I was not expecting the blood as well.
Yeah,
which was so awesome. Do you think this was I can't remember exactly how it happened. Was this like a spur of the moment little thing that happened, or you think it was a worked blade job kind of deal?
I think they had to have planned that, because it sort of mattered so much for the end of the match. Like Punk had got the upper hand because suddenly Walter was like, oh, like I'm bleeding my own blood type thing. Like, this is not a thing that happens to him. And so, I don't know, for the blood to have mattered that much in the finish, I mean, they're both professionals. Maybe it happened and they just ran with it, but it feels a lot more like, that was a planned spot. But good plan.
Mean, if there is a band still in place, I would really like to think that this was more like the Brett kind of like version of the blade job, where he's like, well, you'll never know if it was a work or just a really well timed accident. Who's to say?
Yeah, but what I like is, like, you talk about how WWE's got their ban on blood, like it's just not a thing they do. But that means when it does show up, like it really matters. And it's like, I'm comparing it mostly to sort of AEW, because that's the other thing I watch sort of most of the big shows for. And but there's like bleeding all the time. Like Moxley bleeds walking out to the ring type thing, you know, and so they have to escalate for that blood and for stuff like that to mean anything, and so that's where you get like the crazy Moxley Darby stuff. Whereas in WWE, because the blood is so rare, it's like it just showing up matters.
And gets a huge reaction.
Yeah.
I mean, that was what I really think it makes it feel like something next level. And I mean, I don't know. It's a weird thing to say, like, what's right, like whatever works at the end of the day. But I just thought this was so awesome. And I also felt like this was the hardest like chops that I've seen Walter do in his WWE run. I mean, you've probably watched more of him as Gunther. This did seem harder than generally speaking, right? I'm assuming Punk just told him to go like all out, like balls to the wall or something.
I think he probably saves it up for the big shows, yeah. And so and Punk no doubt would have been game in this situation for it. So yeah, they were definitely hard chops. Like hard chops and hard everything else. Like I've got notes here. And one of my notes is I'd buy Gunther winning off a scoop slam. Because there was just a scoop slam in the match and I'm just like, fuck, like that he did to Punk. I'm just like, I wouldn't get up from that. There's like, if he pinned him right there, I'm like, yeah, okay, that's a fair finish. Like, so yeah, chops, slams, power bombs, like all of it just seemed super impactful.
Oh yeah, I remember like the first powerbomb specifically, and it just seemed so painful. I almost was like, in the following ones, did it like take them a little bit easier? Because that first one clearly looked like it really hurt, you know. But yeah, I thought this was just it's rare that I don't know. I could so see it like a guy like Punk would be like, all right, you know, let's. You know, in his sort of like stage of his career, like, all right, come on, let's not kill ourselves here. Let's just, you know, do the bare minimum. But it felt like this was a heck of a lot more than the bare minimum.
Yeah, I don't know. I sort of feel like, and I obviously don't know the guy, but I feel like Punk as a person feels the same to me as Punk the character does, where it's like, oh, he is that veteran and he knows where matches are going to benefit from, oh, let's do a harder hitting thing. It's like not all these matches are that, and he's got plenty of good matches that aren't that, but like that's what this match called for, and so that's what they did to make it a good match. So, you know, using those veteran instincts sort of outside of kayfabe to get the best match out as well. Yeah,
definitely. I kind of got like overall like a bit of a feeling of those kind of like the Joe Punk kind of dynamic a little bit in terms of like the, you know, obviously Walter being in kind of like the Joe big old hard hitting boy kind of role. And I think maybe that's part of like the magic of what I really enjoyed about this.
I actually went back and checked the third Joe Punk match because I knew I didn't watch the whole thing. I just sort of scrubbed through it because I knew there was blood in that match as well that sort of led to the finish, and I was like, are they just sort of redoing it? But no, it was in that one that was Punk bleeding, and that's how Joe finally was, you know, got the win instead of the draw against him. But I was sort of, because it did give me that same vibe as those matches, it sort of made me think, oh, they just sort of replaying this you know, bloody the giant, bloody the beast, so that you can get him. But not quite, but yeah, it definitely was reminiscent of that series for sure.
Yeah, and I think for the big moment that I chose for the illustration, like sort of, it was really interesting the way they did it, where you know, Walter is bleeding, and he's like, all right, I'm back on top, and he's got him in the choke sleeper. And then just such a great visual, I thought, of Walter just like covered in blood, really showing that like desperation of him wanting to finish Punk, as like, the sort of like bleeding giant kind of like thing that you're talking about. But then like Punk just having this like such great like whoa, hang on, I'm alive again. I can do this, guys, before he, gets up and catches him in that go to sleep. I just thought that whole finishing sequence was just so well done.
Yeah, it really was. Like in your art, which I'm looking at right now, like you also see sort of like the fear in Punk's eyes. Like that's what it looks like to me. He's wide eyed, but like, so he's alert though. So he knows he's got to get out of it. But like there's that fear behind it where he's like, shit, like even bloody, I thought like that was my chance. And now he's still got me back down in this sleeper. It's like, shit, I'm in danger. And like, because it was after the bloodiness, the crowd was sort of like, oh, Punk's got it. He's like, Walter's come back. So he's freaking out because he's bleeding. But then he gets the sleeper in anyway. So the crowd was absolutely, oh no, he's going to get it. He's like, that was the last final hope spot. But he's got the sleeper locked in now. And so when Punk fights back up out of it, they were just so crazy hot for it, which is like I was saying with Punk, it's like that's part of like that veteran instinct for structuring a match. It's like they put that together to get the crowd to have that exact reaction, and it worked brilliantly.
Yeah, it was like just masterful in terms of layout. And yeah, that I guess the overall sort of like vibe for me of that end bit was sort of like, like desperation on both parts.
Yeah,
kind of like very different types of desperation for each of them. But just like a really cool moment, and it was a fun one to draw as well. With sort of like the different like movement going on. It's a good one. I always like try to get those kind of like moments where you get like both of the dudes like faces kind of in there, which is always like what a sleeper is great for. It was a really fun one, and I was pretty stoked with the illustration too.
Yeah. We'll get up to the next match when we talk about what, like out of these three, what my favorite illustration is, but this one still good. But
I'm intrigued. Okay, so did you have any other thoughts on this one before we jump over to our match of the week 101?
I did like that Punk finished with the 2 go to sleeps, but it wasn't like he kicked out of the first one or Walter fell down and he picked him back up. It's like he just sort of staggered back, so he's still a monster. He hadn't fallen from the finishing move, and so Punk picked him straight back up for the second one to get him finally pinned, which is it's just like it keeps Walter strong, like needing the 2 finishes, but I don't know, not just picking him straight back up. It always feels a bit odd when they're like, oh, I know my finish is not enough. It's like, well, then pick something new, man. Like,
that's like the WWE thing of like guys just sort of like spamming their finishes and then just, all right, you do your finisher and then I'll do your finisher, and then, well, I thought this just like made it feel like it meant something a lot more.
Yeah. It wasn't that he kicked out, it's that he could see that he still wasn't down, so he had to hit it again.
Yeah. I really liked how that
as a comparison, we'll get back to it later, but Punk's go to sleeps, oh no, nothing doesn't hold a candle to Kenta's. When we get up to that one later, we'll be like, that's a go to sleep though.
2 very, very different approaches to go to sleep, I would say. All right. So, match of the week 101. We jump over to the other side of the boat in the all elite wrestling land. This match taking place officially in what's still called Ring of Honor, I guess. Death Before Dishonor. Yeah, they do. I'm still a bit dirty on it not being. I don't know. I used to have a lot of love for Ring of Honor, and it just feels like it's not an actual promotion anymore in a way. I don't know.
They got good matches still. That's
the important thing. That's the important thing. So this one I was very intrigued about because both of these guys are awesome. I'm a big fan of them. I think there was a lot of excitement going into this match. I also was very excited about the setting of it. So this was the ECW Arena in South Philly, a venue with obviously so much history. Actually, it is the first time they've run ROH at ECW Arena since the acquisition of it by Tony Khan.
Yeah.
And there is a magic about that building. It looks very, very different now than what it did back in the day, but there's still a really cool atmosphere about it. So all these things led me to be quite enthused about this. And then, man, like, so much like thinking this match is going to be like a big thing and building it up. And then it somehow like shatters all of those expectations. Like, this is wild.
It was a fantastic match. Am I mistaken in that, was this, like they had a problem with the feed and so they ended up putting this match or the whole show up on YouTube for free?
Yeah, that's exactly what happened, which is how I ended up watching it. So I was quite grateful for that snafu.
Yeah, because I'd watched it before it was a match of the week thing or anything, and same reasons. Like I heard it was a good match. I'm like, oh, it's just right here, perfect.
And it just, another one where it got like such a good amount of time that it never would have gotten if this match just happened on like TV. Or if it was like in the middle of a pay-per-view or whatever. So I guess this is a situation where, Ring of Honor is not what it once was. But as like a thing where we occasionally get a big proper, pay-per-view that's headlined by guys that are generally speaking like really awesome wrestlers, I'm not going to complain about that. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. You can sort of call it like an AEW light or whatever, but like AEW's roster is so stacked that whatever, use a third of you guys to go just do a separate company. Like they're still really good wrestlers, so perfect. Why not?
Yeah, and especially like where you get to give them more time like this, and give them more spotlight and more focus. Like, I was actually surprised when I saw this match announced. I was like, oh wow, they're actually going with like an all Mexican main event to the Ring of Honor pay-per-view, which is the first time that they've done that, I think, in the entire time that Tony Khan has owned it. And yeah, man, like you could not pick two better luchadors, especially like for this kind of like crowd, than Bandido and Hechicero.
Yeah, you know that I am not like the biggest lucha guy, but like this, I don't know, maybe it's the setting sort of contributes to it, or maybe it's just specifically these two guys. But they do the sort of not quite light lucha stuff that I don't like, that this crowd really appreciated and that I really appreciate. So I'm watching it going, yeah, this is like these aspects of lucha I am into.
Would you say it's like a PWG presentation of lucha that makes it a bit more palatable?
Yes. So yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Which
I mean, that's definitely what they're going for. I mean, both of these dudes have worked, PWG back in the day. But that's what I would see it. That's sort of like the difference in terms of like, you have some stuff that's like very sort of like more kind of Mexican lucha, and then you have stuff that's like presented to be a bit more palatable to sort of like a international audience. But I think the thing I really dug about this was like it did that, but it didn't feel like it was selling out on like the sort of like authentic element of lucha and that sort of like Llaveo style of Hechicero. And that's what another thing I really love, like the early part of this match, we just got like a really great bit of like technical lucha that I adored.
Yeah, me too. That stuff at the start where like Hechicero, like it's sort of like a deliberate sort of slower pace, but it just looks like, which through a mask, I don't know how he makes it look like that, but it looks like Hechicero was just thinking the whole time. It's like slowly moving Bandido into sort of different spots or like countering stuff. Like Bandido's not just like being toyed with or worked with, but like it's all Hechicero in the beginning there. It's like he's the one thinking and he's the one sort of dictating what's going on.
Yeah. I thought it was cool to watch as well. Like Bandido did like hold his own through that as well, and I think we got to see more of that like Llaveo kind of style, of Bandido that you don't necessarily get to see all the time, which I really, really loved.
Yeah, and I think even from the beginning there, like with that Llave thing, like but they've got their own sort of twist on it, where Hechicero's got like the other, he's got the bit more technical version of it, but he's got the sort of the power behind it to back it up. Whereas then Bandido's got the sort of bit of the speed and the flair that is what he's bringing into it. So I'm thinking sort of the bit where he had Hechicero like in the head scissors thing, and then he does sort of just bridges up onto his head and does that sort of spin to do the spinning head scissors, and it just looks so pretty. He's just spinning in just the most like aesthetically pleasing way. Just like, oh wow. And so yeah, like his version of the Yave is just like, oh, it's got these pretty flares to it, as opposed to Hechicero's, oh, these power flares to it.
Yeah, I think that's a really good call. And it's funny, like that makes me think back, like because I remember seeing Bandido do that head spin counter thing, like a few times, over the years in different matches. So it's like he has got that in his wheelhouse, but I guess you get to see it like a bit more on select kind of occasions. Like I'm thinking back, like one of my first ever Bandido match of the week that I did was a great match that he had with Alex Shelley in Prestige a few years back. And yeah, my favorite part about that match was that sweet head spin counter. But man, like both these guys just work so well together, and I really loved like sort of the classic kind of like Technico Rudo kind of like dynamic that they had all through this. It wasn't just sort of like super indie style, let's just like do everything we can, and it doesn't have heat. Like I think it was kind of like a really great like good guy bad guy dynamic that kind of made it. Yeah,
and I don't know, this is something that I've mentioned to you before, and it's a bit further on in the match, but I'm going to bring it up now just based on that, is the when they worked the masks. So you got like the Hechicero, pulling on Bandido's mask, and it's like classic Rudo stuff. And you're like, cool, yeah, this is what we expect. And the crowd boos him as expected. But then when Bandido does the same to Hechicero a little bit later, and the crowd still boos it, and because like I think, I don't know, you'll tell me because you've watched all the Lucha and I have not. But like in Mexico, if the Technico pulls on the mask as sort of revenge, getting it back, like the crowd's like, yeah, but he's righteous. The face is doing it. We're behind him doing this thing. But this
like
crowd,
the comeuppance kind of deal, right?
Yeah. But this crowd's like, no, we think pulling on masks is bad, and we will boo it. I don't care who does it. And the Bandido then looking out to the crowd and go like, oh, okay, I've lost my way. Let me get back.
I'm sorry, guys. I don't know what came over me.
Yeah.
I remember thinking that was just the funniest little thing. Because, yeah, you're right. It's like such a straight up, like, crowd will be like, oh, I think of like that great Atlantis versus Dr. Wagner Jr. mask, where like Atlantis has given Dr. Wagner Jr. his like medicine and tearing his mask up. Crowd's going wild. Whereas here, the fans are like, oh no, we don't like that. We didn't cheer it for this guy, and we're not going to cheer it for you. Come on, some clean wrestling, please.
Yeah, it was really good. And then, like, the other thing that's contributing to, like, the Technico Rudo thing is what I mentioned sort of at the start of our whole chat, is, like, the variety of styles that it ends up giving you. Like, just within the match, you start off with that slower pace, but then Bandido's sort of fast-paced, high-flying stuff is sort of so different and higher, like a different feel to that sort of you almost get whiplash going between the two, but in this really entertaining way where you're just like, oh, this match has got everything, even though they're just showing you two things, but they're so far apart that you're like, oh, wow, it's going from here on the mat to up here in the air just like that.
And it was like such a great organic, like sort of like traversing from one to the other, where you feel like they're really kind of like there'd be a real clash about it, whereas in this, like, it just felt like it really organically flowed from one bit to another, and then you end up with this match where, like you said, it just like, yeah, man, this had everything.
Yeah. I
just like it was. I was really happy as well that like it kind of was in a position for this to be the match where a lot of people that are sort of more on the on the periphery of lucha kind of stuff. They might not be watching like Arena Mexico every week. They're just like, oh yeah, let's watch some lucha. I just feel like this is such a great representation, and it seemed like it did get like a lot of people talking, and you know, both these guys on a lot of people's radar. And I would for sure say this was, you know, one of my favorite matches that I've seen this year.
Yeah, it was awesome. And this is just like a few spots in there. I'm like, stuff I've never seen before, and probably because I'm not as familiar with Hechicero in particular. I've only seen a handful of his matches, but still, stuff I've never seen before. I'm just like, that's just so cool and innovative. Like when he had, I guess it's more of a Bandido move, but it was still cool. When Hechicero had Bandido in the surfboard, and Bandido's just sort of powered his arms out of the grip and then stood up in the surfboard while their knees are still locked together.
So good.
And then sort of rolled it over to get Hechicero on the surfboard. I'm like, that was just the coolest counter that I've ever seen. And then Hechicero did it as well. And you're like, what? He can do it too? It's like, he's not going to get beaten on technique. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, he knows his technical wrestling. He's not one to be outdone here. But I mean, then that, I guess, going, you know, as we get to the sort of like finishing kind of like sequence, after a whole bunch of absolute insanity, like the stuff that they did on that bloody barricade. Oh my gosh.
Vertical suplex onto the barricade. And you're like, yeah, it was like, that had to go perfectly, or they were landing on a bunch of people who were not ready to be landed on.
It really did go off absolutely perfectly. It was like absolutely dumb in a lot of ways, but just they pulled it off. Just couldn't have been better.
The other move that was absolutely dumb that somehow worked out and looked fantastic was that the helicopter thing that Hechicero did to Bandido. So they're on the ring apron, and he sort of spun him around and helicoptered him as he jumped to the floor. And Bandido's sort of spinning and then just landed on Hechicero before he hit the floor. So he's had like this double impact. Hechicero's lucky he didn't get his neck broken from a Bandido landing on him. It's like, it could have gone so poorly, but it ended up just looking like not perfect because something clearly went wrong, but in that way that I know you enjoy with wrestling, where it's like, yeah, it didn't go perfect because they're both trying to do things that aren't always going to go perfectly. But it still looked crazy impactful. And be like, yeah, okay, I buy that Bandido was out on the floor and Hechicero is going to take a while to get up. This is perfect.
Dude, I love that move so much. And the best part about it is every time he does it, it looks just as crazy and out of control. Like, I remember that sick match that he had in New Japan at Korakuen Hall as part of Fantastica Mania against Cavernario. He does the exact same thing, and it just looks like the most uncontrolled, wild move ever. And I'm just glad that he keeps doing it. It's so great.
So there's just no way that move goes perfect. In inverted commas, perfect. It's just
I still don't know what it's actually meant to look like, if not that.
I assume he's supposed to get out of the way and they're just supposed to land on the floor and he's sort of beside them, I guess. But that's still no good for the guy. Whatever. It worked out-ish.
Oh, man. But yeah, then like sort of the finishing bit and the big moment that I picked for the illustration with, you know, like that, because they teased it and built it up really well, of Bandido going for the 21 plex. And Hechicero just like holding on to that rope for like dear life, because he knows if he, you know, that's going to be it. And in a sense, sort of like Bandido as the Technico, you know, looking at it from sort of like a technical definition standpoint, the Technico is the one who's meant to have the better technique, you know, and the Rudo is the one who's a bit more rough and, you know, takes the shortcuts. And it was the technique side of things that Bandido won out with ultimately, which I thought was really good from a storytelling standpoint.
Yeah, I've got some issues with the end-ish of the match. It's just like bits that, like the ideas that they were going for were good, but some of the execution was a bit sloppy. But, you know, they're also 40 minutes into a crazy match by that point, so understandable. So, yeah, didn't go as perfectly as I'd hoped, but, like, your artwork capturing like that bit just before the finish there. This is my favorite artwork of the three, like for the three matches we're going to talk about, because it's got like you got the ring ropes in the foreground, so like you end up with that really cool depth and Hechicero grabbing onto him, but then you got Bandido, who I think has got the coolest look in wrestling. Like I just dig his mask. I like the bandit mask and just like the all black and the long black hair. He just looks cool to me. But yeah, he's there and his hair's sort of wildly because he's flying it through the air in your illustration because he's just bounced off the ropes. And and then you've got Hechicero sort of gripping on for dear life. And so you've got all this movement and like understanding of what the setup of the move was and where it's supposed to be going, all just in this static image. So like this, I really like this bit of art. Like this is my fave.
Oh, thank you, Brad. Yeah, it was trying to think back. I think it like came together like pretty well. It was sort of like one of those ones where I think I like it would have been easy for sort of like something to go wrong when I was doing it. Like it was a bit of a audacious one to go for, I guess. But I guess that's a good thing about like doing this every week is sort of like an ongoing series. You sort of like get the stuff and you're just like, yeah, I need like sort of a bit of a challenge, I guess, and sort of the lining of things up and sort of like comparative proportions and those sort of like little technical bits and pieces get like a little bit kind of like hard. But no, man, I'm pretty happy like looking back at it now that I have sort of like a bit of separation, I guess, from the actual like drawing part. So I look at it and it sort of makes me remember, man, that match was so great. And that's kind of what I'm aiming to do.
Yeah, nailed it. Absolutely nailed it.
Thank you. Any other thoughts on the match as a whole?
No, I think that's the bulk of it. It's just a really fun, like getting to see that Yahweh style, getting to see that wild variety in stylistic things going on throughout the match. It's just, but yeah, like you said before, just like flowing between them in these really organic ways. So yeah, great match.
Yeah, and I think as well, like you look at it, and I feel like both of these guys have had fantastic years so far too. And then to actually get a match like between them as potentially the peak of both of their years, I think is a really cool thing. Like as we're in, end of October now. For me, it'd be tough to say. Like, I think right now, Hechicero is probably my wrestler of the year from the stuff that I've watched. But I definitely wouldn't, criticize anyone that said the same about Bandido. And if you like this one, I haven't seen it yet, but they have a rematch that I heard very, very good things about in Arena Mexico on the big Friday night show. I think that happened like a little, maybe a month after this one or a few weeks, something like that.
I'm a bit curious about that, Ben, because like I said, like I'm not the biggest Lucha fan, and so like this is that Lucha sort of a bit filtered through the PWG lens. So in Arena Mexico, is it going to lose that? Am I going to enjoy it less, or is it or is like the talent of these two guys going to just win me over regardless? I wonder.
Well, I'm intrigued to see how the atmosphere changes, because like Arena Mexico has obviously got its own like electric kind of like atmosphere and a far, far bigger crowd than we had for this one. So I'm intrigued to see I imagine they probably don't get as much time as well in Arena Mexico on a Friday night.
Yeah.
But definitely keen to give it a watch. And that leads us to our final match of the week of discussion for today. Match of the week number 102. This is the big one that Brad specifically asked to. And hey, whenever someone is that passionate about a match that I chose as the match of the week, and especially a match that I chose as the main event of that week's wrestling club, man, I'm very pleased to embrace that level of passion. So this one took place in my favorite professional wrestling promotion of all time, Pro Wrestling Noah, back on June 14th of 2008. It was the Great Voyage 2008 in Yokohama at the Yokohama Bunker Gymnasium. This, as we mentioned, our lovable father and son battle of Kenta and Kenta Kobashi against Katsuhiko Nakajima and Kensuke Sasaki. And man, I remember loving this match, but when we watched it together at that wrestling club, it just brought me a whole new level of joy for it.
It's just so good. It's got like that variance in tone throughout the match that I enjoyed in the last match, but done in a completely different way because you got like the juniors and then the heavyweights on each team. That just gives all the different varieties of ways that these guys beat the hell out of each other. So you got like the big meaty guys, like when you got the heavyweight, when you got Kobashi and Kensuke, just like belting into each other with chops, just like you would crush a normal person with those hands, and they're just like barely selling it because they just boof 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 back and forth into each other, and
they're
then you get
just such big, thick, meaty boys as well.
Yeah, and just like every time that was those two in the ring together, it's like that. You ended up with like the classic Noah or All Japan, just like it's big chops and it's head drops, like just
yep, bombs.
Yeah. And then you'd have the juniors would get in the ring with each other, and they'd just be so like juniors. Kenta and Nakajima get in the ring with each other, and they'd just be moving so fast and kicking each other so hard as well. And you're just like, I don't want to be in the ring with that either. They're wild men.
And then you'd get the amazing matches where you got the two of these things mixed together.
Yes.
And possibly my favorite part of this four kinds of wonderful, when we got Kenta and Kensuke, and then that great like grumpy old dude versus young punk kind of like dynamic, and Kensuke just not taking Kenta's shit, and man, it was just so great.
It is. And just Kenta from when I get whatever it was, like 2003-ish to 2010-ish, is like, that's my favorite wrestler. Like his moveset and his energy and his explosiveness and his dickishness, that's just like everything about it. I just love it so much. And that's why when there's a wrestling club, it gets to the end of the night and it's like, if there was a Kenta match, that was clearly my match of the night. I'll pick a runner-up just for the sake of variety. But I just enjoy watching him so much.
Yeah, he's just such a fun dude to watch. And I think a really good thing about this match as well, and looking at it, and it's sort of being like representational of the promotion that is Pro Wrestling Noah, is that this is sort of like the best of both worlds of it. So I think Noah, especially around this time, was known for the big, insane, clobbering heavyweight matches and heavyweight style, but then also like the greatest junior heavyweight style wrestling that you ever did see. And so getting to see all of that in one match, I feel, is just like, it's just a great thing to show people, to be like, yeah, like this is Noah.
Yeah, absolutely. And sort of as part of that, so I'm just jumping around mostly. Nakajima being in this match is Nakajima. Like that was the thing. Like that, we're watching the match and you're like, you said who was in it, and I'm watching it for a bit, and I'm like, wait, you mean like Nakajima, like current modern day, like in where's he wrestling now? He's in Noah. Oh, he was in Noah. He's gone now, isn't he?
He's in Glate these days.
Okay, but like he was in Noah a couple of years ago.
Yeah, he was the face of Noah for a long time.
And so I'm just like,
heavyweight champion even made it up to. Yeah,
so I'm like, that Nakajima, it's like, again, I've only seen a handful of matches of, but like everything I saw, I'm like, yeah, okay, he's pretty fantastic. And like seeing him here so young, and like I just did not recognize it was him until sort of it clicked a little while into it. And I'm like, oh shit, yeah, okay, this all makes sense. Like, I see it now.
Dude, he was like 17 years old in this match.
I looked
insanity.
it up. He must have been 20.
Okay,
Because he was born in 88.
Older, but...
Yeah, but still, because I was thinking that at one moment in the match, Kobashi and Kenta were sort of like working together to beat him up. And I was like, these guys are just working together to kick the shit out of this kid. And I'm like, okay, he's 20, technically not a teenager, but it still seems very mean.
So good. Oh, I really, before I forget, I wanted to make mention of that when we watched this, as the final match of our wrestling club evening. What really made me so happy was sort of like how much everyone kind of like got into enjoying this like all together as sort of like a little community. Like, you know, people that have probably, you know, never seen much pro wrestling Noah, or might not be that familiar with Kenta or Kobashi or Kensuke or whoever, but like everyone just enjoying it for like the dumb fun of what it was, and just sort of like getting the dynamic like so clearly. Just like everyone getting into it together brought me like such a special level of joy.
Yeah, I think it's easy to read because like the juniors and heavyweights, at least in this instance, like there's a big difference between them. Like Kensuke and Kobashi are like brick shit house of men.
Yes.
And so like the Nakajima and Kenta beside them, so that you see that difference. Whereas like sometimes now, like in New Japan, like the heavyweights and the juniors, it's like you could flip them around and no one would know the difference. They're the same size guys. But like in this match, it's like, no, you can tell that difference. And so it's easy to like visually build up that dynamic of like this young guy, Kenta in particular, is just like absolutely disrespecting someone who he is not supposed to do that to. And so like you get it immediately just from the visuals what the story is.
Oh man, and I think the repetitive nature of it like really hammered that home even more so. It's like when we get Kensuke and Kobashi, it is just that thudding chop 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 chop, and then we get like some just insanity out of Nakajima and Kenta, and then we just go straight back to like chop 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 chop, like, and I swear that happened so many times over, and it's like even though it was kind of repetitive, it just made it like better the more that you saw it. I really think that was such a great part of it.
And it's not like they ever eased off with it as well. So like those big chops from Kenta, like there was one moment where like Kenta's got him in the corner, Kobashi's got Kensuke in the corner and he's hitting with machine gun chops. And then they switch and Kensuke hits him with like the chop lariat. It's like, they're not slowing down. Like they might not be doing a lot, but they're doing it really hard. So it doesn't matter that they've kept doing it because it still looks completely violent every time.
Oh yeah. And I guess a big part of this as well, like looking back in terms of like time and place and context of it, like this is kind of like on a couple years on from that absolute classic that Kobashi and Kensuke have at the Tokyo Dome at the big Noah Destiny show. The like sort of, you know, what a lot of people say, the greatest like chop fest of all time between these two in the singles match. So you could tell like everyone in the crowd was so just amped to see these guys kind of reignite that magic again. And then they did in this, and it was just, oh man, it just had everything. It was so great.
A couple of bits I liked was the bit I mentioned before where Kenta and Kobashi were working together to beat up Nakajima. It's like, you could see them working together, but Nakajima and Kensuke didn't really. They took turns, but they didn't work together. A couple of times where they were sort of doing a combination move against someone where Kensuke just German suplex Nakajima and Kenta together. Nakajima had Kenta in the waistlock going for the German, and so Kensuke just came in and German suplexed them both. And it's like, not really in the spirit of helping out your young boy, but okay. And then like a little bit after that, Nakajima sort of run in and Kensuke does like a tilt-a-whirl on him to hit him into Kobashi. I'm just like, again, like you could be like trading strikes and like working together to hit the guy, but no, just sort of throw him around.
That is to me the most signature move of their entire partnership. That sweet sort of like he's doing a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker to the dude, but then he just hurls him feet first at their opponent. Just so great. It's like, I'm just going to throw this little dude at you, and his feet are going to sort of come down and hit you with a Coppo kick. Like, it's just a tremendous tag team move. I love it. But yeah, their dynamic is like quite interesting in terms of like the Kohai Senpai kind of thing. Both have had sort of a long-standing that relationship in that way, and Kensuke for the longest time was sort of like that mentor to Nakajima. Like, you see a picture of Nakajima now. I saw one just today actually of him in Glate, and he's got like the little goatee. He so looks, even like visibly, like looks so much like like Kensuke did like in this match. You definitely can see the family ties, I guess.
I'm just trying to look up a picture of him now. Oh yeah, little goatee. Yep. And then there's just like other spots in the match. I'm just like, I just sort of want to say them just because of how sweet they were. Like,
yeah.
But I don't know if there's much to it other than he kicked him really hard. Like, Nakajima had got Kenta in a tree of woe in the corner, and then I think he was going to kick him in the back, but Kenta dropped down for like the hanging tree of woe, so he just kicked him in the head so hard. Steph behind me as I was doing the rewatch, and I'm just like, oh, she's like, what? I'm like, he just kicked him hard. It's all right. She's like, can I see? So I rewinded it, and I'm like, you got to have it with the sound. And she's like, oh, yeah, that's one way of like getting a move over is like dangerous. It's just hit him really hard.
Yeah. Yep.
And then you've also just got like the classic Kenta being just a dickhead. He's whipped. It was him and Nakajima in the ring, and he whipped Nakajima off the ropes like he was going to sort of run and do like a flying kick or like the Bosaiku knee or something. And instead, he just ran straight at the ropes to knock Kensuke off. It's like that wasn't even close to being necessary, but you felt like he hadn't been a dickhead for a while, so you had to get it in.
I think that, thinking back, is the reason why those interactions between Kensuke and Kenta felt so good, because such like a classic Noah like build up of the little dickhead like antagonizing the beast.
Yeah.
And Kensuke definitely went on to teach him a lesson. But man, I'll have to go back into the Noah archives and see whether we ended up getting a singles match between Kensuke and Kenta, because all the interactions between those two in this match were just magical.
Has there been much between Kenta and Nakajima, like as Nakajima got more Nakajima?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like I was just talking to cousin Ben actually about this, and we were talking about sort of some of our favorite Kenta matches of all time. And he just had an insane run as a GHC junior champion, in this sort of like era, and even going up through like when he moved up to heavyweight in Noah, I guess. But like of that junior heavyweight reign, just like classics with like Ishimori, with Kanemaru. But yeah, some of my favorite matches that he had during that run were against Nakajima, and there was several that they had just like absolute classics that I felt like at that time were sort of just so cutting edge. Like I'd never seen anything in any other wrestling that was like quite this level of like that fast paced, hard hitting, like just sort of cutting edge junior heavyweight, painful junior heavyweight style, I guess. So yeah, they actually have a few different matches that are just fantastic stuff that I'd highly recommend.
Sounds absolutely up my alley.
Especially as like you're saying, like when Nakajima gets that like little bit older. But yeah, they're all so good. Nakajima is just a really great wrestler.
Yeah, seems to be.
And the other thing that stood out to me about this match when I was looking back and thinking about it, you kind of like forget. It's another one that goes by so fast, and then it's like, oh, what? It's a 30-minute draw.
Yeah,
and you're just like, how in the world did 30 minutes pass by here? So as a linking thing, looking back at all three matches, we have three quite hefty length matches here, as looking at these as a trio.
Yeah, I'm just scrubbing through Punk Gunther now to see how long it was before. Yeah, it was about 30 minutes. And yeah, I think Hechicero Bandido was, I think it was getting close to 40. And then yeah, this one obviously went to the time limit, so it must have been an even 30. But I like how they got
three that really didn't feel as long as they were, for me at least.
Yeah. I like how they were getting to the time limit in this one, and sort of they were filling it with like Kenta and Nakajima, like the legal men, and they're just like trading pinfalls and roll ups, and you're like, oh, any one of these could get it. But then you got Kensuke and Kobashi just sort of kneeling off to the side, just chopping each other, because that's what they do. It's like, we're just going to keep doing, we just keep doing this until they ring a bell, I guess.
Oh man, it's funny because I sometimes worry with the wrestling club matches that we were playing at the Scratch. I'm a bit wary. I don't want to have like too many kind of like long matches. So when I have a match that I know is like a 30-minute draw, I'm normally a bit like, I want to try to balance this right or whatever. So there's a little bit of me that had a little bit of hesitation with like having a 30-minute match to kind of like finish the night. But yeah, like got over and everyone seemed to dig it, and I think it's more a testament to how awesome this match is and how fun that dynamic is than anything.
I think it's also got to do with like the way you were saying before, like it's a lot of, we just put these two guys in the ring and we let them do whatever with each other, whether it's chopping each other or move real fast with each other or disrespect their elder or whatever it is. But if you zone out for a bit, or if you're not paying attention to the match, you're not going to lose it when you get back in. You get back in and you're like, okay, I see the two guys in the ring. I understand the dynamic of what's going on. Whereas like a one-on-one match or a different match, not necessarily a worse match, but a different match that's just as long. Like if you're not following the story, it might be a bit trickier. But Wrestling Club, you'd probably want that sort of thing where it's like, if you went to get a beer and you came back 5 minutes later, you can still get what's happening sort of straight away.
Yeah, you're like, oh, these guys are chopping one another again?
Yep, got it. Understood.
We're back up to speed. Oh, yeah, but a lot of great visuals in this match too. Made it another one that was like quite difficult to try to pick the big moment for the illustration. Ended up going for an actual like post-match kind of like moment.
Yep.
Like right after they announced they got to the big 30, and Kenta is just kind of sulking, like disappointed in himself that he wasn't able to finish it. And then I just really love, like, especially kind of getting back to that kind of like father-son thing that I was going for with that Father's Day edition of Wrestling Club.
Yeah.
Kobashi just like giving him a little like, pat on the shoulder, just like, you did good, kid.
It's all right, boy.
It's just so wonderful.
Yeah, and you sort of think it's going to be that sort of sweet moment to end it all as well. Like your illustrations got it there. It's like, oh, you did good. We did all right. And sort of that could be the wrap up of the match as well. And I think as it was the main event of Wrestling Club, everyone sort of turned away from the TV a bit there as well. Like, oh, cool, the match is finished, and like the post show stuff sort of happens in the background. We're not paying attention. But then, Nakajima just won't have that. And so he just starts going at Kenta, and then Kenta's like, oh, what, is this what we're doing then? So he starts going back, and then he's got like the disappointed dads there being like, no, boys, stop it. This is the show's over. Kobashi sort of just shaking his head.
What have I done here? What have I created?
It's like, me and Kensuke were getting along. We knew what this was. We finished chopping once the 30 minutes were up. You kids have just got to learn to let it go. It was a beautiful Father's Day finish.
Man.
Disappointed dads.
Disappointed dads. Oh, we really went on a journey through that Father's Day wrestling club, but I thought it was a good note to finish on.
It was great.
Yeah, neither officially fathers and sons, but spiritual fathers and sons for sure.
Yeah. It's got the dynamic that you wanted.
Yeah, I think so. There's another, like, I was really tossing up between this and another really great sort of similar dynamic one with Kensuke and Nakajima, I believe, against Kobashi and Go Shiozaki, because like Go Shiozaki was sort of one of his proteges as well.
Yeah, when I went to search,
one that goes real hard.
Yeah, so I was just going to say, when I went to search for this one to rewatch it today, that was the other thing that came up in the suggestion. I'm like, ooh, maybe that one. But I have not watched it yet, but yeah, that sounds also awesome.
Very, very good match. Yeah, this is the kind of wrestling that I love, and the kind of wrestling that I love sharing with everybody and celebrating. Just some real physical, hard hitting, painful looking wrestling.
Good stuff.
Manly. Yeah. Well, I think that brings us to the end here. Did you have any final thoughts about this, or all three there?
No, I think we. Oh wait, Kenta's Go to Sleep. Look, it's nasty. Comparing it to that Punk one, Punk sort of gets them off his shoulders a bit if he can, and they land softly on his knee and fall to the mat. And Kenta makes sure he brings that knee right up to their face, so that, and like with the speed that he does everything else. So yeah, I think he hit Nakajima with the Go to Sleep. I'm just like, oh shit, just another one of those moves where it's like, you don't need to do it that hard, but that's just how you're going to do it every time, I guess.
It's funny even watching it from like Kenta, because like I feel like over the years, since then, and especially when Kenta kind of had his run through NXT and then New Japan before finally returning to Noah, I think he made it a lot more kind.
Yeah.
Over those years, we still saw the really painful one on occasion, but yeah, then going back and watching like sort of like OG angsty young man Kenta, like in all this glory, you're just like, man, this guy, just what an absolute beast.
Yeah, just
special,
a beast, and just oozing disrespect against everyone.
And it's so funny because like his mentor in Kobashi is just so the complete opposite. I think that's what makes this partnership so interesting. You just got like the guy that just embodies like respect and human goodness and like just everything that you look up to, and then just like how does this partnership work with this little dickhead in every sense of the word? But it's almost like Kobashi is impressed by Kenta's dickheadishness, and that's the magic.
That's exactly what it feels like. It's great.
It's like Kobashi's like, oh man, I could never do this myself, but I'm glad that you do.
Yeah. Proud of you, boy.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well, some tremendous wrestling there, and I think we did do it in the right order. You don't want to go from that Go to Sleep, to the Punk one. I think we did the correct escalation here.
Yeah, I don't even think you want to go from those chops to the Gunther chops. Like Gunther's chops are impressive chops, but you're going to struggle to find anyone who's going to beat a Kobashi and Kensuke combo.
Yeah, I very much agree. Oh man! Well, thank you so much, Bradley. I look forward to seeing you in person in a couple days for our big Halloween double feature annual tradition.
Wonderful. We got Halloween and The Fly.
Mm-hmm.
Looking forward to that.
I have not seen either of these in quite a while. You said you've seen Halloween more recently than me, right?
Yeah, for some reason in the last couple of years, I've ended up watching it a few times because I like it a lot, and it keeps being Halloween every year somehow. So I ended up watching it a lot, but it's been a long time since I've seen The Fly, and even then, I don't think I think it's like sitting in front of a monitor and sort of vaguely paying attention to it. So I'm looking forward to giving that the full cinema experience.
I believe this is the first time I've seen either of these movies in a cinema environment, so I'm very stoked about that too.
Yeah, it should be very fun.
Yeah, these traditions I think are important. It works out well because I'm coming down from Brisbane to fly out to Sydney early the next morning, so probably a bit of a short turnaround, but yeah, I'm very stoked we're going to get to do it.
Yeah, be a fun night.
Alrighty, well, thank you so much, Bradley. I'll let you get back to it, but thanks for coming on. Don't be a stranger. We'll have you back soon.
Much appreciated. Next Kenta match, I'm here.
All right. Thanks, dude.
All right, bye.
Alrighty, thank you again, Bradley. Fun little chat there. I really like whenever I just get to nerd out about some truly wonderful professional wrestling matches, and I kind of forgot how awesome every one of those was, and how epic it was. So very nice to reminisce with Brad on those. Hope you all got something out of it. I hope you guys, if you didn't already, give those matches a watch. I can't imagine you'd listen to us talk about them in long form if you haven't, but if you haven't, would recommend. Oh boy. And I'm very excited to see that Halloween double feature with Bradley tomorrow night. Oh, dude, I'm going to be so tired. I have this Halloween double feature that's probably going to go till like after 11 at night, and then I have to get back to my parents' house to then have a early morning flight out of Brisbane, where I probably have to get up at like 5 a.m. Why do I do this to myself? Because I love the wrestling art, and because I love Halloween retro movie screenings. I think it's going to be a fun time. I'll just jam a whole bunch of coffee for Saturday. If you come by Saturday and I look sleepy, this is the reason. This is the reason. Oh boy. Well, we're at that pointy end of the show, so I'd like to thank you so much for listening, so much for listening to my long-winded rambles about the wrestling. It's nice to talk about something that you dig, and the reason I do this podcast. One of the reasons I do this podcast, in addition to keeping myself company when I'm, up here in these often lonely hills of where I live that can be a little bit isolating, it's because I remember back in the day, being really into wrestling and not really having any friends that I could talk about this passion to. And I used to listen to, like podcast radio shows of people just nerding out about it. One of my favorites was with Rob Naylor back in the day, and hearing about Rob Naylor and just whoever he would be on. Alan Forel, that was it. Rob Naylor and Alan Forel, hearing them talk about really obscure Japanese wrestling and indie stuff, and yeah, it just brought so much joy to my day. So this is kind of like a little bit based off of that, if anyone gets those references. But anyway, happy to do it. It's a lot of fun for me, so hopefully you guys get something out of it too. If you would like to support the show, support me as a wrestling art dude, christhings.com.au is the place to go. That's my little old website. That is the place where you can procure fancy art prints of my illustrations of said matches. Thank you again to Bradley for saying such nice things about my illustrations. I always feel a little bit awkward in taking those compliments, but anyway, it is what it is. I appreciate it, Bradley. Thank you. If you would like to buy them, you can. I also have a bunch of my other paintings from some of my various solo shows, the sort of like B-grade cowboy luchador aesthetic. A lot of those paintings are available in fancy art print form on that website. And I lied to you guys last week. I said I was going to have my calendar up this week. I didn't get time. I'm sorry. I'll do it next week. I promise. So the 2026 calendar will be available soon, and it will be available at this weekend's Lucha Fantastica show, as well as that next wrestling club event. But I would also like to direct anyone who's not already following Instagram, Chris Things on Instagram, who is the best place to keep up with my nonsense too. And I'd also like to say a big old thank you to the great team at Social Suplex for allowing me to do this extremely niche podcast for all of these episodes. Socialsuplex.com is the hub, the home of this wrestling podcast, as well as a variety of other fun wrestling podcasts, from One Nation Radio to Keeping It Strong Style, the New Japan podcast of the network. We've got the Trish and Sarah podcast, we've got Tunnel Talk, we've got Imp's WWE Adventure, the AEW Match Recommendation podcast, All Things Elite, all sorts of things. So have a look if you want more wrestling audio in your life. Great place to find it, and some very cool hosts that create some interesting audio. So that is that. I better get to this packing my bags for this big Lucha Fantastica weekend. Again, if anyone's in the Sydney area, please come on down. I would love to see you. I would love to have a little chat about what wrestling you've been watching, and just I really like the connective kind of like, face-to-face element that I get at these shows. So I'm looking forward to it. It's like one of those things where it's like you got a lot of work, a lot of build-up to it, packing and flying and travel and all that thing. But then when you're there, it's just a wonderful time. So I'm looking forward to that bit. And then afterwards, I'm looking to catch another screening, my first rewatch of One Battle After Another with my dear pal and former tag team partner Josh. So that's what my weekend looks like. You guys know my whole social schedule now. I say this because I consider you guys my pals as well, and I'm just a rambling mess of a human. Alright, on that note, let's finish this up. Thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope you make some great progress on any creative endeavors that you might be into, any projects you have on the go. I just hope you have a nice little week until I see you next week. This has been Wrestling Art with Chris Things. Enjoy!
I do the hammer lock. Do the hammer lock, you turkey necks. Yeah, do the hammer lock. I do the hammer lock. Everybody's doing it. Do the eye gouge. Yeah, do the eye gouge. Do the eye gouge, you turkey.
If you're a podcast host, listen up, this one's for you. My name is Allie Jackson. I'm the host of Finding Mr. Height, a dating and relationship podcast that I've been doing for 4 years now, sharing my positive and practical approach to dating that's built on my own life experience. And I wanted to share another experience that I've had, my secret behind monetizing my show. It's called Red Circle, and I was just telling my colleague about how much I love their platform. With Red Circle, not only am I getting a seamless hosting experience, but I also love the support I receive in ad sales. It's not just typical ad sales either. It's targeted opportunities based on my show and my life. And the platform is super simple. You just set your preferences and Red Circle matches you with sponsors that align with your show. You can vet every opportunity and their platform gives you great analytics. More recently too, my Red Circle team has brought me opportunities outside of my podcast on social media to really augment the podcast partnerships, bring them full circle. I just can't recommend them enough. If you want to give it a try, go to redcircle.com to get your free trial. That's redcircle.com for a free trial.